Human Health Risk Assessment. Welcome to our video on Human Health Risk Assessment. Today, we will delve into the crucial subject of understanding and managing the impact of environmental factors on human health. We'll explore the key components involved in risk assessment, identify various health hazards, discuss exposure assessment, dose-response relationships, risk characterization, and learn about mitigation strategies. So let's begin our journey to safeguarding human health. Before we dive into the details, let's briefly introduce the purpose and structure of this video. We will cover 5 essential sections to equip you with the knowledge to make informed decisions about your health and environment. Understanding risk assessment. In this section, we'll define human health risk assessment and discuss its key components. Risk assessment is a systematic approach that helps us understand and evaluate potential risks to human health posed by various environmental hazards. Defining human health risk assessment. Risk assessment involves a series of steps to identify, quantify, and characterize health risks. Let's explore each of these steps in detail. Hazard identification. Hazard identification is the first step in risk assessment. It involves recognizing the potential sources of harm, such as chemical, biological, and physical hazards. Exposure assessment. Exposure assessment examines how individuals come into contact with hazardous substances. This step considers exposure pathways, including inhalation, ingestion, and dermal contact. Factors like the duration, frequency, and concentration of exposure are crucial in this assessment. Dose-response assessment. Dose-response assessment establishes the relationship between the magnitude of exposure and the likelihood of adverse health effects. We'll explore the concepts of threshold and non-threshold responses, as well as discuss vulnerable populations and their unique characteristics in responding to exposure. Risk characterization. Finally, risk characterization combines the information gathered from hazard identification, exposure assessment, and dose-response assessment to estimate risks. We'll learn how risk is quantified as a probability of adverse health effects. Identifying health hazards. Now that we understand the assessment process, let's explore different types of health hazards and examples of hazardous substances that can impact human health. Chemical hazards. Chemical hazards encompass various substances present in our environment, workplaces, and daily lives. We'll showcase examples of air pollutants, contaminated water, and harmful radiation and their effects on health. Measuring exposure. Understanding exposure pathways and factors influencing exposure levels are vital in accurately assessing health risks. Let's dive deeper into this critical aspect. Understanding exposure pathways. Exposure can occur through inhalation, ingestion, or dermal contact. Recognizing these pathways helps us assess and manage potential risks effectively. Factors influencing exposure levels. The duration, frequency, and concentration of the hazardous agent play a significant role in determining exposure levels. We'll discuss how these factors impact health risk assessment. Real-life scenarios to demonstrate exposure assessment. To illustrate exposure assessment in action, we'll showcase real-life scenarios involving different environmental hazards. Assessing dose-response relationships. Understanding the relationship between exposure levels and health effects is crucial for effective risk assessment. Let's explore dose-response relationships and their significance. Defining dose-response and its significance. Dose-response assessment helps us understand how the magnitude of exposure relates to the likelihood and severity of health effects. This knowledge is essential in establishing safe exposure limits. Threshold and non-threshold responses. We'll differentiate between threshold and non-threshold responses and how they impact risk assessment. Introducing risk as a probability of adverse health effects. Risk characterization involves quantifying the likelihood of adverse health effects based on exposure to hazardous substances. This information is vital for decision-making and risk management. Communicating risks to the public and decision-makers effectively. Effectively communicating risks ensures that the public and decision-makers understand the potential health impacts, facilitating informed choices and policymaking. Mitigation and risk management. Armed with knowledge about risks, it's time to explore strategies for reducing human health risks and managing environmental impacts. Presenting strategies to reduce human health risks. We'll discuss various mitigation strategies, including engineering controls, personal protective equipment, and regulatory measures that play a crucial role in safeguarding human health. Showcasing successful risk management case studies. We'll showcase real-world examples of successful risk management practices that have positively impacted communities. Future challenges and emerging technologies. As we move forward, we face new challenges in health risk assessment. However, we also have powerful tools at our disposal to meet these challenges head-on. Discussing current and future challenges in health risk assessment. We'll explore the present and future challenges we may encounter in assessing and managing human health risks. Highlighting the role of advanced technologies in risk assessment. Advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and predictive modeling have the potential to revolutionize risk assessment practices. Conclusion. In conclusion, human health risk assessment is a critical process that empowers us to make informed decisions about our well-being and the environment we live in. By understanding and addressing potential hazards and exposures, we can create a safer and healthier world. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more videos and updates.